Prediction markets are certainly having their moment right now. In my view, it's just another way for traders to take a bet. That's a good thing, though, right? For tasty traders, that's what matters. This is how options traders think. They're thinking in the terms of probability, in terms of betting. How much is the market implying? What's my payout if I'm correct? That's what we have on a pretty interesting guest here today. Maria Cannizzo, founder of Kelvin, an AI platform used to help prediction market traders. Before Kelvin, she was VP of product over at Zero Hash, where she built crypto infrastructure for some of the world's largest financial institutions. She's previously held roles at BlackRock and 21 Shares, so she has the institutional side, she has the crypto side, and now she has the prediction market intelligence angle as well. Maria, welcome to Trading Trends.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. Very happy to be here today.
So let's start about prediction markets at the top line level. For a trader who's never used Kalshi, Polymarket, or an event contract, try to ground this quickly here. A contract may ask whether or not the Fed could hike at the next meeting, if CPI is going to print above a certain level, or a company contemplates or completes an IPO by a certain date. So what's a prediction market? How does pricing work? And how does the settlement work compared to other financial assets?
Sure, yeah. Well, as we know, more and more of the world is being priced as an explicit probability. So we have Fed, we have sports, we have IPOs as well coming up. The challenge is making sense of them. So some traders are actually starting to use event contracts as precision hedges on specific binary risks. So it's early and liquidity is a constraint, but that's the direction we're going. As an example, let's say your book is rate sensitive. So a no cuts in 2026 contract pays off in exactly the scenario that would hurt that book. Some people might ask, what is the difference between hedging your portfolio with options versus hedging your portfolio with prediction markets? And the answer is an option hedges the market's reaction to an event, so the volatility, the move in the underlying asset, and an event contract pays on the event itself. So these are binary contracts. They settle at $1 or 0, and therefore you have defined risk on both directions. So as a prediction market trader, your max loss is what you paid for the contract, and your max gain is $1 on each contract. So you know your risk going in when you're setting up your strategies.
So our tasty audience already trades probabilities every single day. Option traders are constantly thinking about implied volatility, expected move, break-even skew, defined risk, whether or not the market is overpricing or underpricing an event. If someone already understands options, what's the easiest bridge over into prediction markets? Where does the logic overlap or perhaps even break down?
Yeah, so let's take a macro lens at Fed rates as an example.
Sure.
So the Fed has held rates steady for the past 3 meetings. We have next meeting coming up next week with our new Fed chair, Kevin Warsh. And an interesting find in prediction markets is that Warsh leans dovish, but the market is pricing roughly 57% odds of 0 cuts across all of 2026, while the Fed's own dot plot still calls for 1. So we do get a new fresh dot plot June 17th, so that's something to look out for. But this is just one of the ways you can use macro events to as a part of your strategy with options, equities, prediction markets.
So when we're thinking about the options, we're talking about how much the stock can move, how much time is left,
Correct.
Volatility inputs. But you mentioned already that the payoff structure for prediction markets is often binary. Is the event happening or is it not? So do you find in your research that options market pricing, or say predictions market pricing, is more efficient than options market pricing?
That's a really good comparison. I would say they're pricing 2 different things. So you can actually use both of them together. As you mentioned, options are pricing volatility, they're pricing movement, they're pricing the magnitude of maybe an event. Maybe we have an earnings event coming up, and you would take a position in an option based on what you think the magnitude of the outcome would be versus the earnings result itself, which would be the prediction market, whether they'll beat earnings, whether or not. So there's actually some pretty interesting strategies that traders are coming up with to take positions in both options and prediction markets to play a more holistic view on these macro events.
I'm trying to think about edge here in this case. For options traders, there are some folks who just so fundamentally understand how pricing works. They can just look at the options chain and say, this is out of whack. I need to buy this. I need to sell that. I can make money doing this without respect for the underlying. So how does a prediction market trader get edge? Is it just by having speed and access to information before everyone else?
That is one of the ways. So prediction markets, as we've all been learning, they are an information game. It's all about information asymmetries, finding information quickly before everyone else does. However, prediction market traders can't just trade headlines. So especially with Kelvin, providing that underlying research, we encourage traders to really look at what is underlying that headline, what are we actually impacting, and use it as another data point. So some traders are even using prediction markets as a data point into other models, into equity models, into options models, and larger strategies, which is a flip on the viewpoint of, let me take a position in a prediction market and hope that I'm right. Instead, we're seeing that prediction markets actually have around an 89% accuracy rate on average across all of the categories. So what's interesting is we can actually take prediction market analytics and plug them into more traditional strategies.
You've had a lot of experience at various institutions. I mentioned this at the top of this show, but Zero Hash, BlackRock, 21 Shares. What did you see in prediction markets that made you say traders need a better platform than this, that led you to Kelvin at the end of the day?
100%, yes. So I've been in crypto for around 10 years at this point, and I've been a trader myself. Early on, I've traded equities, options, forex, crypto, and now we have prediction markets. But what I'm seeing is prediction markets feels like crypto, let's say 2017, where we have an explosion of the exchanges, but really no data, no tools, and traders just kind of flying a little bit blind that early on. And now we're seeing volume just pour into prediction markets. It is coming from crypto somewhat, and we have all of these different categories with really no tools at the moment. So having something that is AI native, that can synthesize information faster than any human can, and is connected to real external data sources, is something that really helps ground traders in reality, versus maybe taking a little bit more of a blind strategy.
So I think the question at the end of the day for most traders is whether or not prediction markets are just another sentiment gauge where they can actually give you insight into the market that maybe other products or asset classes don't. So what do prediction markets see that the stock markets just aren't right now that provides them this level of intrigue and interest?
Yeah, I think what makes prediction markets so powerful at the moment is they are global. So it's taking in global information. It's information of the masses, if you will. Something that prediction markets have maybe that traditional markets don't. Let's take a look at IPOs. We have SpaceX coming, biggest IPO ever. But what's cool is that you don't need to wait for the bell anymore. So these companies aren't public yet, but you can already trade on when they will be public and what they're worth. So that's something that prediction markets has ahead of traditional markets.
You mentioned liquidity before. It's coming in. The space is new. It's a new way of expressing one's view in the market. But how should traders think about liquidity in market? Are these markets ready for serious size right now, or are they still viewed as ways to express targeted expressions around a specific event?
I think there's a lot more headroom when it comes to liquidity. So a lot of these strategies that are just now being explored and developed in order to really have an impact on traditional markets or to have a really strong hedge in larger portfolios, let's say like hedge funds or larger funds, we're definitely going to need more liquidity to come into the space. So really excited to see how that grows over time.
As we wrap this up, when you think about prediction market participants making mistakes, what's the most common one? Are they trading around the headline? Are they anchoring to stale probabilities? Are they just chasing a consensus? Why do people fail?
Yeah, well, I think a lot of traders in prediction markets, it's a very social activity at the moment. So trading off of headlines, trading off of social media, and there is this perception that you do need to move quickly and you need to get in before the probability shifts. So sometimes moving too fast can also be a hindrance to making a solid, informed decision backed by data and using prediction markets in your broader portfolio strategy rather than a single, maybe you have a single high conviction bet, but prediction markets, I believe, have more value in your larger portfolio.
She's been Maria Cannizzo, founder of Kelvin, an AI research tool for prediction market traders. I've been Chris Vecchio. You've been watching Tasty Live's Trading Trends. Come back for more videos, like and subscribe. We'll see you next time.